we go. Shout out to the intro. Welcome to Rich Talks, podcast where we do music commentary, cultural commentary, deep dives, and just interesting topics in general. I'm your host, Ankh, aka Ree. Now let's get into it. So today I had a bit of a special guest episode today. I have somebody who's not just the founder, but also an artistic director of the Sun Raven Arts, which specializes in empowering voices through the arts. So let me introduce y'all to my friend, Rhonda Lucy.
Hey, holy smokes.
How you doing today, Rhonda?
Oh my God, we got it done. We had so many technical problems.
There was so many technical problems.
Here we are.
Oh my God.
Yeah, thanks for that intro. I founded Sun Raven Arts and the Toronto Indigenous Filmmakers Collective, like the first TIFC.
The first one, right?
Yeah. So
tell us about that.
There's small different little like film collectives that are Indigenous based.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are like Two Spirit or these. They're focused toward a certain niche, but this is like Toronto GTA.
Yeah.
Also like for everybody, like allyships, Indigenous people, BIPOC. You know, a lot of it's a safe space for marginalized people, but the truth of it is, I was just like, I had just graduated film school, and I'm like, I want someone to play cameras with me, and I got mentored by the Winnipeg Film Collective.
Nice.
So that's our sister, place, and so they kind of showed me how to set it all up and
that's really dope.
And do that, and I just thought I seen that, and I was like, why aren't we all coming together? We're so separated in this city.
Yeah.
And why can't we just let's play cameras. Let's play cameras and make up stuff or film stuff and do it together and pool our resources.
So as somebody who's in the film industry, I guess, you're pretty much in the film industry.
Yeah, I do that too.
How does it feel being someone of Indigenous background that has to navigate through this industry? As you say, it's not very I don't want to say welcoming is the term, but I guess the term is open. It's jumbled and everybody's tribal, I guess is this maybe the right word. Everyone just creates their own little tribes, and it's if you're not helping us, then it's do whatever you want type of thing. Or
I don't know. Well, it's predominantly a white industry. It's predominantly a white male-led industry, but I'm seeing a lot more women.
But still, to this day, you know how they always say Hollywood's been.
Well, yeah, because you have unions, right?
Yeah.
So you have seniorities. So you've got people who have been in unions for 40 years.
So even here in Canada, it's a thing too.
Because you're still in the film union, so there's more growing permits and there's more growing members, but you still have your original base members from 40 something years ago.
Right.
I'm IATSE, and I've been a permit. I was a permit for a while. I've only recently last year met my first ever other Indigenous person on set.
And okay, so how many people would you say you've met total?
Thousands.
And it took till last year for you to meet somebody who's also Indigenous.
2.
Wow.
And it was last year, on a new show. It was really cool.
What do you think's the reasoning for that? The lack of, I guess, representation?
I can't tell you one reason, but I think we all know base reasons of things. I think it took me 4 years and I've had credits, and I just always worked as a performer.
Yeah.
I have a very unacceptable personality for a corporate office. professional weirdo. That's what I wanted to do.
Professional weirdo. I like that term. I like that term. That's funny.
It's anything but a real job. You know what I mean?
Anything but a real... No, but even those are real jobs too, right?
You can tell the age difference with somebody usually when I say that, because I say it as a joke, because it's like, and people go, oh, I get the joke. Or they're like, how did you get into the film? I'm like, I don't know, I don't got cable, I got nothing else to do. I just have Netflix. Like, no, the nuance is I had nothing else but the drive to do this. I didn't have any access to resources. And I don't got cable. What am I gonna do with my time?
So you grew up without cable?
No, I stole cable. No. Oh, you.
What do you mean you stole cable?
It's a whole other story. It's a whole other reason. People, it'd be weird about it. Be like, so how did you get into it? Because a lot of times they'll ask you for like this big, deep. Like, I have people who assume I'm uneducated.
Whoa. I
have people who assume who literally to my face told me that I grew up in a tar shack on a reserve.
What?
Like, can I just order a sandwich?
You said a tar shack? Damn.
Because back in the day,
was that one of those like the growing up things? Because like, you know, even me.
Back in the 50s and stuff, it was pretty normal to have like tar siding for like.
No, but I mean, like, was that a school thing? Like in school, they would just say, "Oh, no, you grew up in a tar shack" type of thing.
Like, I'm 38.
What?
This is like now it happens. They're like, "Oh yes, but like I can't imagine."
That is insane. Oh, yeah. And this is in Canada.
I remember trying to get an extension from my prom once in school, and she's like this like scarf wearing sort of, is arts enthusiast elderly woman. It's that big junk jewelry. Loves to tell you stories about where she got everything. Kind
of like the Liberace.
It's a scarf-wearing white lady.
Oh, the scarf.
A patron of the arts. I was trying to just not say that.
Kind of like the Cruella de Vil type look.
Cruella de Vil, just culture. But anyway, she's like a walking catalog of Pottery Barn.
Oh wow, Pottery Barn.
It's a type. It's an archetype. I'm also a writer, so if anyone's offended and you also watch TV that's made up, those are also archetypes and also like based in sort of realities.
I mean, that's how you create an archetype, right? And even character tropes, right? Because like they're all based on something that somebody has actually seen.
So we'll go back to the original part of this was like, so a lot of the barriers or like misconceptions that I get in film. So it took me 4 years to apply to my union. One of my unions. I won't say which one.
How many unions are you a part of? Like, I guess you would be a writer, actor.
I work in films.
So it's like, it's just, you have to be in multiple.
I have American and Canadian.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So, and so for, like, here's how the interview went. So these are the things that I have to prep for. I'm like, okay, obviously, we tone down the crazy makeup, lighten the hair. So I would bleach my hair just, like, to tone it down a bit, to take the black out. You would
bleach your hair?
Yeah, just so it would go to, like, a brown color.
Really?
Put my bangs back and up, and I would wear, like, pink shirts, light colors, like very soothing colors, and it's the same thing as culture shifting, right? Like, you know how you have to kind of
code switching and whatever.
Code switching, okay. Culture shifting. That's all.
It's the same thing, essentially. It's just like more visual than
because it was constantly like I got fired because of having short bangs.
What?
For jobs, like you're unapproachable looking, you always look mean, and it's like that's a native girl thing that's always there.
So you had to tone down your indigenous look just
all the time, and I still even get told like, why don't you just hide it from your resume? So I'll get into explaining that after. So my interview was 4 years of failures, and I have 20 years of like legit stage and performance background.
That's crazy.
I'm a published author, writer, a dancer, and like theater major. Like, I toured. Like, it's not that I was like, I like clothes. Can I come work for you? No. And it wasn't even something I wanted to be in. I'm a writer and a director, and they just go, but you dress so interesting. Why don't you just go to costume department? Like,
so they try to like push you towards,
and that goes all the way back to the school days. That was like, I never went to the class. My principal would give me a pad of paper and a list of shit to do and let me run around the small town and run his errands for him. And
what?
Then he'd be like, go hang out in the hallway and go draw, because you're a good drawer. I'm a terrible drawer, by the way. I'm a shitty painter.
Oh, me too. I'm terrible with drawing. Like, great at writing.
I'm a comic book artist now, but
we're the same, because like I'm the writing side of the comics, but like I could not draw to save my life. Like, there's no way I couldn't do it. We definitely should collab. Like,
we'll see it. So what happened was like, so I do this interview, and then what I constantly get told is, well, we think that you would just be bored. You guys, why don't you just go work on the reserve? I'm like,
what?
Like it's a YMCA, like you get a membership and you just like, it's a revolving door. Like, oh, there's so many.
That has such a heavy racial undertone to it.
But I'm mixed race. I'm technically Native American, so I can't get Canadian status. And even though the adopted Indigenous family tried to take me in to band office, I was born 3 months after a law had changed that they couldn't give me actual status. So I didn't know my status like for years. But
you look it. Like, you didn't even know your status when you look it. Like,
I get some kind of Spanish.
Some kind of Spanish.
But anyway, we keep getting on track about this thing. So I get these interviews, and she goes, well, we think you'd just be bored here, and you've got so much exciting stuff happening on the reserve. Why don't you just go live on the reserve and go work there? And you guys got so much money and funding. I'm like, so there's that stereotype that's still very prevalent.
Yeah.
And then she goes, okay, well, we'll see. And then she goes, miigwech, which isn't my language. It's not my language.
What does that mean, first of all?
Well, it's Ojibwe for thank you. Miigwech.
Oh. You're not Ojibwe.
I speak Ojibwe.
But what's your...
So I'm Melungeon. I'm a mixed race.
Okay.
So I was just like a bastard kid. Like, my dad.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
My dad had like a ton of kids everywhere.
Some people,
dead.
Some people are Rolling Stones, man. That's just what it is.
My mama, they were both horrible people. They both conned each other, thinking each other was rich. It's true. And then.
I'm sorry to laugh. That's just a wild thing.
That's a whole other soap opera. But I'm a mixed race person.
Okay.
So I have like all the typical like, I have some Scottish ancestry and some, Irish or it's mostly like I have like a Finnish, like an Indigenous Finnish great grandfather. So like a lot of like really way north.
Scandinavian.
Yeah. I don't declare like it's like think like Sami people.
Right.
British guys like to tell me I look like a fat Bjork. It's true, they do. It's true. The British are known for their manners. It's good.
I mean, like, they don't hold back, and I appreciate them for that.
You know what? I miss British people in Canada because Canadians don't talk.
Yeah, nobody.
No one talks here. At least not to me. Or maybe it's just because like they won't give me a bar tab or something. I was like, you tell me if I walk in next to a white girl named Lisa, who gets served first?
Oh man.
Tell me.
So I have a question. When it comes to like the term Indigenous and Native American, like I've heard from some people that they don't really like the term. So like what's the right way to like I guess address somebody of the Indigenous
by their name, by their fucking name.
I mean, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Yeah.
Why we gotta bring race into this all the time? It's like unless it's for something like.
But like when speaking about ethnicity, right? When you're trying to like explain somebody's ethnicity.
So you ask what nation they're from.
Okay.
So if you were imagine so I try to explain to people, if you were to call all Asian people Chinese, that's insane.
Yeah, you definitely can't do that.
Not all Native people are Ojibwe or Mohawk and there's so many.
Or the Métis, or the ones that we all know. Like, there's also smaller ones that we don't really know.
I'm Melungeon.
Right, I didn't even know what that was until you explained it.
Hill folk.
Melungeon are like the hill folk
from Appalachia.
Whoa.
So that's where the mixed race comes in, where it's Mediterranean. There's some UK in there.
Right.
African and indigenous. So that's a whole thing of there's this thing called Melungeons, the lost tribe, and that's not getting into some lizard people shit.
No, get into it. Get into it. I like it.
It's not. It's just a group of people who were who just didn't want to be a part of most of society down south, but they would go play pranks, and in the Civil War they would go steal the Confederate soldiers stuff and then sell it back to them, and so they're kind of.
I mean, that's not very prankish. That's more like scamming.
Yeah,
we're gonna take your shit and sell it back to you.
People who wanted to be left alone, and then there was they also seen Mediterranean people, especially Portuguese and Mediterranean women as animals. Also,
what?
So there was a place where my dad's side is from.
Okay.
And we used to be called Greasy Rock, and it's because when all the colonizers came over, because they didn't bathe.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Obviously.
They thought there was a whole culture of folklore where they thought water and bathing was bad and shit. But whatever.
I mean, I know for the Scandinavians, for example, they did it was a once a year type of thing. Bathing was a celebratory type of thing for them. So it does make sense that they didn't really bathe.
I'm not trying to shit on too hard.
The past is the past.
I'm also just go for days without bathing.
I mean, just bringing up certain aspects of the past that were real.
Yeah.
It's not shitting on anybody. It's just it is what it is, right? So
don't erase history. Don't erase it,
right?
Dirty schmucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it was called Greasy Rock because whenever they would go do their laundry, they were the natives would come back and be fuck, man.
They greased up all the rock.
Greased up the fucking rock again. But now it's very real. There's actually a really huge hip hop festival down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, full of Melungeons. Melungeon people.
I wouldn't mind, I love hip-hop festivals.
I think it's called, the Greasy Rock Festival.
No way.
It's something. I have it on my Facebook. I'll send it to you.
I'm going to check that out.
There's a
Greasy
Melungeon Music Festival in Sneedville, Tennessee. And so that's what it turned into. So there was a man named Joseph Sneed who fought for the rights of this Mediterranean woman because she had land and she was technically an animal, or anybody who was not light-skinned.
That is crazy.
So they came in. So he fought this lawyer back, this is 1500s. Fought for her and for her to keep her house. Because what would happen was if they're in, regardless of your skin color or race.
And that's somebody with olive skin, right? Not even my complexion. She was olive skin.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they were also part of the slave trade.
Really? So Mediterraneans?
So a lot of so how a lot of those groups sort of mixing and coming up from the Florida areas, the indigenous people would support the escape. I hate using the term slaves because they're people. They were the captured people, the people who got out, who were able to get away.
Yeah.
We would be okay, we're gonna teach you how to survive in the Everglades and not get eaten by alligators, and there's sort of
right how to survive here.
Yeah, and so that also kind of came up through Appalachia, where there was the Mediterranean people and then some. I mean, there's also the native people who maybe you're just a piece of shit and got kicked out of your nation. It's not all heroicism.
It's true because a lot of those tribes they fought each other too, right? Before the colonizers even came. Who else did they have to fight but each other, right?
Well, yeah, but that wasn't our game. We had understandings of the natural law of take what you need what you take.
take what you need, right?
We'll steal your horse and we'll make fun of you for it. Like we're
still humans at the end of the day,
yeah,
right?
We fuck, fight, love, and make fun of each other for it.
That's crazy.
Like so that's Melungeon.
Okay.
So what happened was in honor of fighting for like basically a really heroic act of feminism and anti-racism, this lawyer Joseph Sneed, who I don't know much about other than that, they renamed good old Greasy Rock. They named the township area after him legally, Joseph Sneed. So it's called Sneedville.
Sneedville.
Which, when you think down south, you're like Snidevale. It sounds like.
Right.
Let me give it some dignity. Let me give it some history.
Okay.
And so that's Melungeon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the Melungeon's really like, you guys are like a mix of like that Mediterranean people as well as the Appalachians? Yeah. Okay.
Which also meant that I had the genetic thing for Mediterranean fever, which super sucks.
What's Mediterranean fever?
It sounds like a cool drink.
No, it sounds crazy.
It sounds like a racist fetish.
We're not talking jungle fever. What's Mediterranean fever? What the?
It's a genetic thing that it kind of just lives in your body like a chronic illness, where it's like you just almost feel like you get the flu out of nowhere for aches and pains and swelling in your joints, and yeah, it's like
that's like a lifetime thing.
Yeah, it's like a chronic pain thing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's super fun. Or like you could explain it by saying like fibromyalgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a specific thing that's a little different because it acts like a flu. And so I never understood why I was sick all the time, and I was like, you need to take better care of yourself. I'm like, but even when I do, I'm like, ew. And also I'm homeless. Why are you mean to me? Like, what are you talking about? I'm 13 and I'm homeless. Stop shaming me for not eating organic.
Oh my gosh, wait. You were homeless at 13?
Oh yeah.
Talk to us about that. Like, wow.
Well, my mom sex trafficked us. My dad was dead. And
your mom did what?
Yeah. I have a restraining order on her. I don't want any part of her. I tried for years, and it's like things happen, and you know, one of the biggest piss.
I mean, that's a big thing to happen.
No one believed me. They called me a liar, and the way that my mother would set it up was that like, oh, she's such a liar in her story. She's always getting in shit. Well, of course I'm always getting in shit. I'm getting beat at home all the time.
At 13.
I'm gonna come home and like, yeah, it gets even better. So when I was 12, they put me in a government test facility that there was just a big class action lawsuit called CPRI, and it was where all these like sort of counselors and stuff were getting money to send kids to, and it was like this weird. It's called CPRI in London, and it's supposed to be a child psychiatric center.
Oh boy.
It's some Stranger Things shit. So they did electroshock on me. They did all these kinds of tests, and they kept threatening that if I don't just go along with what they're doing, they have every right to keep me there till I'm 18. So it was in partnership with the government and corporate drug testing facilities. So
does that have any ties to the whole residential schools controversy?
It's basically the same kind of shit. It's the same shit. It's with a corporation.
That is insane.
It was wild. So like, there was a class action lawsuit, and so I was there till I was 13, and then I was like, fuck this. So when I was released from there, my mom didn't want me anyway.
Wow.
And that's cool. That happened.
Is it cool? I don't think that's cool. Like,
I'm cool. I'm fine.
Okay. I'm glad that you're
But there was a lot of like I'm cool with it now, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm mental, but you know, that's what'll do that. That'll do it to you. But I was like, there was a settlement, and I didn't want any part of it, so I talked to the lawyers, and I'm like,
you didn't take the settlement?
No. It was it was anywhere between $5,000 and $30,000 because the government at the time was refusing to acknowledge it, so they settled it out of court. And I'm like, it is not worth the self-implosion I will have to go through and go re-see those people, the ones that are alive.
Yeah, it's traumatic.
It would feel like dirty money.
Oh my!
And also now I can write about it.
Yeah, that at least, right? You can make a whole movie about that. Like, that's crazy.
Musical about
you
girls
need
to run away with it.
You need to make like a biography, autobiography. That's gonna sell.
I got my first like grant to start working on my Street Kid journal.
That's amazing.
It's called The Chicken Boys.
The Chicken Boys?
Yeah. It's a love letter. The Chicken Boys is the first series in Confessions of a Teenage Barfly.
What's the inspiration for the title? Chicken Boys?
Well, when you're a street kid in Brantford, Ontario, there's like not much there. This is before Laurier in the school and stuff was there. It's my allergies.
No, it's okay.
There's a Victoria Park, which is in every city.
Everywhere.
The same
There's
archetype
a Main
of people
Street,
there.
Victoria Park.
Yeah, same kind of park hangy outy folks, you know. And then you got the local jail.
Yeah.
And then you got the soup kitchen on
jail
the other
in Brantford?
side. Yeah.
Okay.
The bucket. It's very, very original. Very original title.
That's crazy.
So on certain days, you would see like the youth releases would come out, or the Drunk Tank releases would come out, and there was a guy, or there's multiple of them, like were predatory dudes who would be like, "Hey kid, want to smoke? Want a sandwich?" And they would pick you up and be like, "You want some money, man? Like, look." They would always flash these like rolls.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, well, I run a farm up the road, and chicken picking is a real thing. People do it." So it's like
they chase the chickens? Or?
Yeah. It's like industrial chicken farms.
Oh.
So when you go up all night and you're chasing chicken, it's hard work. So what they would do is they would sort of seduce the kids in the way of be like, "Oh yeah, it's like real gangster work because like you work so hard that you have no fingerprints, and so then you can go do more crime and no one can catch you again."
What the actual fuck?
But that's where it begins, and then it runs to a whole underground world of sex trafficking, prostitution, drug running. My first boyfriend was a gay prostitute, sex worker. I don't like the term prostitute personally. Sex worker. He was 18, I was 13. It was just like, I learned so much and I seen so much. And the guy who ran it was like, it's a small town, so everyone kind of intersects in some way. So one of the guys who ran one of the huge like greenhouses, because up in that area it's like a lot of tobacco, industrial farming, greenhouses.
I can imagine, greenhouses like regular plants or
no greenhouses like for like big flowers, like big like
like
if you're buying
a real
wholesale,
greenhouse. Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, like
I thought that was a euphemism for
sure there's that too. So it went, and this is where it comes full circle. It was like the one guy, his name was like, he went by his street name was like Ben Leo, or whatever, and he was like the son of the owner, and this is old money kind of shit.
Right.
He would always hang out around the park waiting for the youth, and so he would pick the boys up and get them to go and get them involved in this kind of shit, and I lost so many of those guys and women too, but I was often friends with men because I didn't understand my sexuality maybe so much then, but I don't know, it was very different being a tomboy as they called it back then, but like some of them just never came back. I grew up, my kindergarten teacher was a female child molester in this small town, and it groomed them.
What is wrong with this town?
Brantford, Ontario, man, I'm telling you, it's crazy shit. Her name was Mrs. Fraser. She used to try to take us to court all the time and sue us, and like, it's just nutty small town. How
did she afford to pay for the lawyer each time?
Who knows? So This sounds like a lot of like nonsense.
Oh, this sounds wild.
But it is wild. So basically the book is a love letter to all those boys. Those boys who didn't get the chicken boys.
That makes sense. That's actually a great title. Like, after you explained it, that title makes so much sense. That is great. Okay, well, let me ask, because you said something that I was just like, wait.
Yeah.
You said your first boyfriend was a gay sex worker?
Yeah.
What? Explain.
That actually came out because when I was in that place called CPRI,
right.
I met his, at that time, child girlfriend, who was also in there.
Which is nuts.
His name was
nuts.
Ashley. And
so he was 18 dating like 13-year-olds?
Yeah.
Oh, predatory. Go on.
She was pregnant. It was wild. So I became friends with her because, I don't know, I'm just alone, right? This place.
It's the trauma. Yeah, I get it.
Trauma bond with people. It turned out she was my neighbor. So after I got out, I went to go visit her. And then she introduced me to the guy. And they were broken up at the time. And prior to that, I had just been surviving my own household, and I just hung out in the fucking trees with my books and my dog, and it's really no different.
Yeah. So human contact was just like, oh my gosh, this person's giving me attention.
Can anyone tell that I'm not that great at the personal conversation? If I have to do a corporate speaking role, no problem. If I got to do a show, no problem. But something like this that's so comfortable and casual, I'm I have sentences like quilts. It's just here and here and here.
Yeah.
But so that's how that happened, and so all of a sudden I wanted to get away from this abusive, psychotic mother, and this was something different. And I also thought it was interesting that it was down in more of the hood area. And I seen something that I thought was so cool I had never seen before, where the parents would be out on the stoop with
watching
the kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were drinking and smoking joints and stuff.
That's the
but
hood.
I would never see that. My mom didn't want any part of me. I was mostly kept in the basement, just as go play, go.
Just leave me alone.
Or I just always had a dog. Clipped my dog. I had a little hound dog.
You've always had a dog?
Always had a hound dog,
That's
man.
Nice. I like that.
And just my bag of books, and I'd take a loaf of bread and some apples, and I would climb up this willow tree, and I just would read Greek mythology and draw and just hang out with my dog.
I love Greek mythology.
Yeah, I love all that nerdy stuff.
Amazing.
So that's how I ended up getting on the streets. It was either isolation in the woods or dealing with extreme violence and abuse at home.
That's wild.
And then, I'm coming into puberty too, so I'm this older boy, whoa.
Yeah.
What's going on?
He's
There's
giving me attention.
people around. My mom is in my area where I grew up, nobody's around. No one talks to you. There's a lot of older people too.
Yeah.
So it was this was a world. I'm there's people here.
That's wild.
Let's go see people. And from there, I was, hitting the bars at 13.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And they were letting you though?
Town and country.
But they were letting you?
Right from the interior.
They never just all right, yeah, I know who you are. I know your mom, get out of here. They were never like that.
I think most women will all share in the experience of
underage.
You never realize how many pedophiles were really around until you become an adult and you go, fuck. Because at the time, you think you're an adult.
Yeah.
You're I'm here because I'm cool.
I mean, at that age, literally from between 13 to 17, it was yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm grown. That's what I was saying. I remember the first day I turned 13, I told my mom, Mom, I'm 13 now,
Yeah,
I'm grown.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, kids are wild.
So, yeah, I became a street kid. And, I don't know, I hung out with just, travelers and poets and beatniks and...
How long were you a street kid for?
You always got one foot in, man. You're
Really?
dude, life.
You never really leave.
You never really leave. Even now, if I miss rent next month, I can go back to being a street kid.
I mean, that's most people.
But no, but in actuality, it was like always on and off until I probably wasn't starting. And I found for me, people didn't start listening to me until I hit after 25. So before then, I was just sort of like renting rooms and sleeping outside, and like I had jobs, but I also had no financial literacy. I drank my rent, like I partied, but at the same time I had a suit always rolled up in a guitar case, and you know, I
just like always ready to go just in case.
I had drive. I wanted to really be something, and then how I think the original pillar of Sun Raven Arts was when you live in a shelter. Oh, I should have got a tissue. My nose is itchy. When you live in a shelter, you're not allowed to be inside during the day unless you're working on correspondence, which is a homeschooling shit. Okay. Or you're part of some kind of program. So like, there's nowhere to go, and so you're kicked out of the library for doing too many drugs in the library, and then like everyone knows all us kids couldn't read, so what do we do in there, you know? So we had nowhere to go. You hang out at the bus terminal. This is how you get into shit. Yeah. And then this is how you go, oh, I got a place. Why, you know, this is where some
come over here. Yeah.
That's how you get in the shit.
Oh my
That's how you get in the shit, man.
It's so easy.
Yeah, I'll fuck predators, man. You're cold, you're freezing. It's like, I don't know.
And that's how they end up chicken boys. Like,
that's how you end up being a chicken boy, you know?
That's crazy.
Sometimes those chicken boys fly away and they don't fucking come back. And you never know. It breaks my fucking heart. But I'm at a place now where I can talk about it, and I'm ready and I'm stable and I can do those things that I've worked really hard. So there was a poster contest for the local youth mental health ward at the hospital, and it was like, draw a picture of what mental health looks like, and that was my first intro.
What does that mean?
Why do you, right? I was like,
I couldn't even draw a picture of that. I don't know what that means.
It's a concept. I mean, and prior to that, it was like, draw a picture of the dog. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a Rorschach test. Like, I don't know what that means.
That was like a lot of like, what am I doing? So I said, okay. And so they kind of felt bad for me. I mean, I didn't have any boots. I was still wearing sandals in the winter and stuff. And so it was like, they're like, we'll let you stay inside and we'll buy you some paints if you work on this. And so one by one, people would see me with paints and stuff. And all the other kids, youth, and they were kids. I thought they were I thought we were all adults. Yeah. They were all adults at the time. Yeah. And they would see, they're like, holy shit. And they really hadn't seen art supplies since like elementary school. And that's
they wanted to do it too.
And they're like, can I do it? And so I went from trying to figure out what mental health looks like to teaching art. I did have art training in after school programs because my mom was always like, get the fuck out of the house, here, go to a camp, go to a camp, go to a camp. And it wasn't anything prestigious, mind you. It was like some TSB shit. Yeah. Like, it was like,
Toronto District School Board. You know, like always the worst stuff.
It saved my life. Those programs save lives. And so I got skills from that. And so I went from teaching, so the next thing you knew, the whole space was filled and everybody had canvas and art, and they were trying to figure out, how do I translate my feelings into an image? And from that moment was like, and I didn't know it then, but when I look back, I'm like, that's the moment I found my voice. That's the moment I earned my name.
So is that what got you into writing after that?
No, it's what got me into teaching. I'm not particularly... So my traditional name is Sisananawe Gonkwe, meaning butterfly woman.
That's a mouthful. I don't even know what she just said.
Oddly, you know who says it really well? Word, when it like the Word program, when you get it to read back your stuff, it actually says it amazingly.
Wow.
Who knew? Robot? Shucks, robot. So the butterfly teaching would be that you go long distances through blood memory, but you're essentially made of powder. and you stop and you mend when you need to mend, because the butterfly wings get tattered and they rejuvenate and they, and they pollinate and they help things grow along the way.
This is deep.
And then they go to that migration journey and then they go back and they're still pollinating and giving and it's all by blood memory, all by things that have been taught to them from generations upon generations upon generations. And so my name is relevant to the art, and it's not so much that I'm any fantastic artist. It's that I'm delivering messages, I'm teaching.
And you're consistent with it. That's what actually makes you a fantastic artist. The thing with being an artist especially is because they wanted to get away from the fickle corporate constant doing this, that, and the third consistently, right? But if you're an artist that can do things on your free time or whatever, as long as you stay consistent, you will be better at it than most, right?
Except for Corey Feldman. And Eric Sweet is
leave Corey Feldman alone.
Eric Sweet is so mad.
You leave Corey Feldman alone.
It's fine. Because he's already perfect. That's why.
Oh my God.
He's
awesome.
The comeback king.
He's awesome.
But yeah, so my whole dedication is to be. So even just what I started this story with, of like, oh, why don't you just go work on a reserve, or like, you would just be bored doing this, like, so I've just taken notes my entire life on those barriers, and just with this punk rock attitude of
just
being
been breaking them down.
I take notes and I help people. I'm like, here's the cheat sheet to the Eurocentric answers that you're supposed to have.
And the cheat sheet's just a rock for them, and they just throw it through that glass, like, break that barrier.
I love how people tell me that, like, I'm lucky to even be here,
that's a wild take.
Or like, oh, you need to just get your foot in the door. I'm like, your door is built on my ancestral land. So
that's a fact. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Doesn't happen to your landlord.
But actually, speaking on like film, and like in more recent, I've seen like in recent interviews, Anthony Mackie, Captain America. He played. I think that's his most prominent role. He was on an interview on a podcast, and he was talking about the lack of masculinity in society nowadays, right?
What does that even mean, though?
Well, that's just the thing, right? Because I think he kind of does have a point.
But what is masculinity? It's an invention. Now you have biologics.
Yeah.
Now listen, I'll give you biologics. Brains think different ways. And I think that you can get support, because the XY chromosomes, you can have variations of those codes. So I think the idea of femininity and masculinity as two things are made up, and I think if men want to wear dresses, they're the ones who invented femininity, so fucking let them wear dresses if they want.
Here's the thing, I think that everybody, like all humans, have both in them already. Like we already have the nature to be masculine and to be feminine, but based on our sex when we're born, we're more in tune to be on one or the other, because it's the instinctual it's the instinctual drive.
But then you have the people who have different mixtures.
Yeah, no, that's true, because obviously not everyone's a monolith, right? So you're gonna have outliers in each one, but for me, like growing up as a black man, I've always known that like we have like a hyper masculinity about us. Like we've always had like this stoic look. Like obviously growing up, I look to my father, right? So, and he's always been a stoic man. He's not one to really show emotion, but you can tell when he cares. When he cares, you know he cares. He just doesn't show it in the same manner that somebody who is more
I think that's
feminine
trauma
show
from
it.
colonization, because there was like on our, at least I'll speak from my perspective, whereas we had councils and we spoke and we communicated, and then we also got infected with that sort of. So I see this idea of masculinity and femininity as a style.
Style.
Interesting. It's drag. It's acting a part, because I think the stoicism comes from oftentimes a place of fear or trauma where you're closed off, and I don't think that has anything to do with your genetics. I think that has something to do with your behavior. If you want to be male, be male. You want to be female, you want to be female. You want to be, if you're, and we have our intersex brothers and sisters, and we have our trans brothers and sisters, and like, I think some days you've seen me in your backyard and I'm making something out of sculpture, and I look like a dude, and it's just like,
to me, nope, you still didn't look like a dude. Just because you dress with in a certain way, to me, I still
like
can't see
coveralls,
it.
my hair is back, my head shaved, I got a hat on.
But like, think about this, that's always been a thing. Like there's a thing called like boy shorts for women. Like come on, like there's a thing called that. Like
I don't.
It's just baggy clothing.
Those are my So I think it's all like. I think if you are complaining about taking a role that you think is not where you want it to be, then don't cash that fucking check. I don't know. Don't complain about them. Then don't take the role. Then give it to somebody who wants that role. If you're a straight person who wants to complain about playing a queer role, don't take that role.
Okay, but then there comes the issue in that regard. I agree with that. But in that regard, there's like certain, at least for the black people, there's certain things where like they put these black actors, specifically straight actors, in these roles that just like makes everyone question, right? And it's like in terms of like if they don't take these roles, then their career will just like it'll be stunted from there.
What kind of roles?
Like for example, I'll use Will Smith as an example. When he started out in Hollywood, like he was doing movies, shows, whatever he was doing, right? It wasn't until after he did 6 Degrees of Separation.
I was gonna be like that.
Where he had to kiss a man. Yeah. After 60 Degrees of Separation, we got The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We got Mission Impossible.
See, now you're just going YouTube like, conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy. Like for me, it's like it's only I can't speak about all other artists, but I just see it in terms of like black artists. Why do they make the straight male actor? Why do they put them in these specific roles?
Well, they
obviously it's part of it is on them too, because like they have the choice to choose to proceed or not. But then there's the coercion. I feel like there's a coercion.
Okay, but in the context of this would mean that there's something wrong with it. See, that's where I'm gonna stump you on that. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with kissing another man. You know, there's nothing wrong. If less masculine.
No, it's not anything about the masculinity or not. But like if here's the thing, if I was in an acting role, right?
Sure.
And they're like, okay, for this scene you have to kiss a dude, and I'm like, yo, I'm not comfortable with that.
That's okay. Then you're not comfortable with it. Next, we'll move you on and we'll move someone else in.
Usually, right? And it's like, but it's like, do I lose all potential roles after that because I didn't acquiesce with that, or because that's the thing that I see, right? It's like in terms of like remember when Dave Chappelle said that he was leaving because they tried to put him in a dress, and he just thought the whole thing was
at some point you're being laughed at.
Yeah, and it almost becomes minstrel in a way. Like, I don't want to use the term minstrel, but it's just like they specifically, I feel like, from what I just feel like they target straight actors for these specific things sometimes, when they can easily just get somebody
that's the
who
argument
is
too, right? And that's why we're having more equity and inclusion, and it's like, give space for queer roles and trans roles, and like my first student film, it was not written about, it was actually about butterfly teachings, which I just had told you, and I had a position of power and platform to make a short for CBC and CTV and APTN, to work with those guys, and because I'm also a two-spirited person, it doesn't really matter, and I just thought to speak about the teachings of what the butterfly teaching is about responsibility and healing and trauma healing and self-healing and these things, and ownership of one's self-spirit. I was like, I have platform. I'm like, it makes the most sense to have two-spirit trans people play these roles. To me, I could have had anybody play these roles, but I had a position, I had 2 actors that were ready to go, and I'm like, I think it's not specifically, that's the other thing too, is like, just because you have a trans actor doesn't mean you have to make it a trans story. It's almost like, just because I'm an Indigenous person, you don't gotta ask me what fucking tribe I'm from, or like, which also never say that as a nation. Or like, you know, people don't have to bring up like your color or my lack of eyebrows or like whatever the fuck. It was just simply like, I had a position of power, so I gave that. And so I think that if these people are going to continue to bitch and moan about, oh, I don't want to play, oh, masculinity, you can be queer and masculine. You can be femme and masculine. It's all, everything man-made is made up. When it comes down to the biology of the human, everything comes down to this. If you don't want to fucking do it, don't cash the goddamn check and bitch, right? And
I agree with that, but then also, like, why do we have to label everything then? And
well, I don't think that we have to label so much as that people want to be called by their name. And I think that,
I mean, normally people are called by their name, but it seems more that they don't want to be called by their name. They want to be called by some made-up titles.
Well, your name's a made-up title too.
No, a name's not a title. A name is a name. A title is a title, right? Like, for example, what does two-spirit in the 2S LGBTQ actually mean? Question. What does that mean?
So sometimes it means that so sometimes it can mean that you're in, you know, queer, bisexual, or sort of like.
So then what's the difference between a queer and a bisexual? Because the whole thing really
one
does
question at a
me.
time.
Right, sorry.
I've been kicked by too many horses to play. One at a time.
I'm sorry, I'm passionate. It's very passionate.
So two-spirit traditionally was about how we had medicines, right? So lifestyle. So if you want to go back to masculine, feminine, we've seen them more as men's medicine and support roles, and women's support roles. But we also had trans people, we had intersex people, because that's natural. Everything on this planet, plants have intersex things, plants have transitional sexual things, everything does. Everything in this absolute world that's organic does. So what we would do is we would have different tests growing up to kind of see which sort of medicine. I probably would have been put into men's medicine when I was younger if I was put into a test. So you would have because I was very boyish. But I also love glam too. Like, I'm addicted to glam. It's great. Most natives are though. That's just across the board with natives.
Right, but wouldn't the woman's medicine still work better on you than a men's medicine would?
So I use the term medicine in the way that we connect with each other for ceremony.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like witchcraft shit.
Right.
And also, if you're
nothing wrong with witchcraft,
if you're an adult lady out there calling yourself a witch, grow the fuck up. That's the ultimate white privilege I will ever see. I'm like, if you're still play acting hocus pocus, please fuck off.
Damn.
I cannot. I'm so tired of cultural appropriation, of culture vulture shit.
I mean, isn't the adding the 2 to the 2S LGBTQ thing appropriation?
No, it just means
because like isn't the 2S
both worlds?
But doesn't
so it means sorry, going back to this, it means that like so that you could attend a men's sweat lodge and you can attend a women's sweat lodge, and we have different teachings based on our sexualities, and we also have 2 spirit sweat lodges where we kind of learn how to cope with dealing with what it is like to think and be attracted to.
I understand that.
So that's essentially kind of what it means.
That seems more cultural, right? More cultural, tied to indigenous and whatnot. Yeah. How does that relate to the sexuality of the 2S LGBTQ community? Because those are titles. It's no longer culture.
So the title, some people use the title of Two-Spirit as it's sort of hand in hand with being trans in that way, because some people do use it as a way to express their sexuality.
So why don't they call themselves trans? That's
well, they're not. Well, they're not trans. Maybe they're.
I guess like mentally trans, like in that capacity.
No, well, because some people are gay, some people are lesbian, some people are bisexual, some people are asexual, and then you have Two-Spirit people. So Two-Spirit people carry this open, almost a fluidity, like a gender fluidity sort of thing. So
are they technically representation of gender fluid and non-binary people, I guess?
No, they're technically representative of Two-Spirit people. So
why are there so many? Like, you see what I mean by like titles? Like the
I
titles
think that
thing?
Tribalism is really fucking us up, but I also love, like, as coming from a place where I watched my sibling who should have been transitioned medically, like, who should have, in a small town, endure so much fucking horrific sexual violence because of the way that they looked and the way that they were, and thinking it was going to make them straight and all this shit. Like, I think we can allow ourselves to be more than one thing, and we are more than one thing. Plants are more than one thing. Animals are more than one thing. Fucking amoebas are more than one thing. Like, I don't know. I don't like when people ask me or force me to tell them my pronouns. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because I had so much issues with people didn't know if I was a boy or a girl growing up all the time. I looked like Taylor Hanson when I was a kid. I did! I will show you a picture. So I'm like, I just like to be called Rhonda.
Shout outs to Hanson, man. Come on.
They're on a tour. They're touring again.
Oh.
Actually, the one older brother's a really good producer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they still all have long hair?
Fuck, let me ask. Let me call them.
You should give them a call.
Let's call them right now. Yeah, so yeah, Two-Spirit is that's the short of it, you know. Label yourself. Don't label me. And if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it, and don't take up space that you don't need to be in. But that doesn't mean you still can't champion for someone who wants to be in that space. You know how many times I've given my space over to other people that need it more than me for so many things. I say, like, we're all. I
mean, but isn't that just like a part of being a good person? Like, you know what I mean?
Like, isn't that it?
Like, just being a good person doesn't mean that you have to walk around showing this label. Like, yo, I am only this label.
Well,
like,
you know what?
You're more than just a label.
Well,
you're a person.
There's also growing pains of that stuff too. You know, when you're young and adolescent, or maybe you're newly out and coming into things.
But a lot of times I see some of the loudest ones are the ones that are already fully grown, the ones that already have their frontal lobe fully developed.
Yeah, but they're also fighting for the rights to, because we still have old baby boomer parents that are still kicking in there, that are still forcing the, like, I'll beat you if you're, you know, like, there's still shit.
There's always going to be parents like that. At the end of the day, like, there's nothing you can do about those.
We need those aunties, we need those uncles, we need those.
But
those people.
I will say, there's really no rights that they don't have. Right? It's more the advocacy part.
Yeah.
Makes sense, because like you said, you need those aunties and those uncles.
There's covert rights that we're not getting, right? Just the
such
same
as?
way. The exact same thing as I keep getting told, why don't you just go work on a reserve? You just be bored doing this.
What would an example of a covert thing for someone in the LG community sort of?
So, as example, sometimes when I apply, even though I'm union, I apply for a job, I get an email back saying our diversity program is full. Try back in 2 years.
Yikes! But you just check off like how many diversity boxes already? Like that? What?
But
that's so vague.
So they're, yeah. So they get stuff like that.
That's so vague.
Because you still have, it's still at the top an old boys club in a lot.
Oh, it'll always be. It's Hollywood, right? Like Hollywood still runs things at the end of the day, right?
I never thought I went from street kid to a Hollywood kid. Now
ironic, right? Ironic, isn't it?
Well, you know, one day Corey Feldman and I will be on the podcast with you.
That would be great. Have Corey Feldman on the show. Yeah, that would be really cool.
You know who I want to talk to? Edward Furlong.
Really?
Everyone gives that guy such a hard rap. That poor kid. See, that's another thing. He was basically sex trafficked as like a 13-year-old kid by a grown-ass woman who was like in her 40s or some shit.
I mean, wasn't Corey Feldman also trafficked as a kid?
Yeah, but he's like running some like mini cult out of his house.
Oh, God.
Eric's gonna get so mad.
Oh, man.
Eric's gonna get mad. The Angels.
Sorry, Eric.
I'm not. You know how I feel about this. This is not a secret.
Oh my gosh.
But like, you get stuff like that too about like, but then you know people like Edward Furlong where he spiraled out into drugs and addiction because of the horrific abuse he went through, and then he became an abuser for a while, and you know, and he's still, the society still won't fucking let him down on it, you know. But so that's why loudness works. Like we're always going to have to be loud and be present and make space for us, because we've got little ones coming that we need to lead by that example, and sometimes you gotta be a bit louder to get the ball rolling, you know.
I don't know, sometimes I feel like I gotta push back when I hear the term like make space for it. You guys have space. Like there's no space that you cannot enter, essentially. Like, you know what I mean? You guys are already
see, and then that's but so what I see on the other side of it though is I don't see that space being made. I see it a lot more in my departments now, but on screen we're seeing more of it. And the space that's being...
Are you seeing more of it, but with straight actors, or actually actors within the community?
It's people who have been traditionally overlooked and marginalized and not put in, so straight actors who would play trans roles, or excuse me. But also, like, not every trans person has to tell a trans story. Like, they're just people. And so that's why I put them in my film, those two beautiful actors. You know, Michelle and, you know, Linklater was like, just use the medicine that you know that this story is about, and just act. Just be actors. And then, because it's like, it's the same pigeonhole to get, like, I can't get native roles because I don't look native enough, and I hear this from native directors too.
Because your complexion's not dark enough, they say, probably, right?
Or I'm too fat, or...
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I can hear him like, am I a victim? Do I get that? You a victim?
They're
Do I get one of those?
like that. Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, all the time. Lose 60 pounds or gain 60 pounds, is what I get told.
You mean gain another? Wow. Okay. All right.
You know.
All right.
Because then so being loud and making space, it means like making space outside of these dead, bored ass, tired ass archetypes that have
So
been,
like when you say like being loud, you mean just like bringing more attention to the injustices, I guess, of like things like that, as you say, like where they.
But it's also just letting people feel like a human. Like it's letting people like I would love to play a role where I'm not cast as a native person. I'm just maybe I'm like a weird store clerk or something, you know? Like I don't know. I didn't set the bar very high.
I mean, I think you can still pass for. I think you can still pass for racially ambiguous roles sometimes.
Racially ambiguous I can do. British people have assured me I'm a fat Bjork. So there's that. It's cool.
That's funny.
God, they're the worst.
That's funny.
But I miss them so much. You know, I love British people. I love when they sing. I love that they get drunk and they sing, and that's so much fun. I miss British people. Let's go find some. Let's go find some British people.
I really do like their accent though. I really enjoy their accent.
I grew up with it. It drives me fucking crazy.
Okay, one more question
Sure.
regarding the community. I'd say what's the difference between B and Q?
Bisexual and questioning.
I thought Q was queer. I originally, because back in the day, I remember when you guys started coining that term, Q meant questioning.
I feel like
not queer.
I feel like you should ask a different question because this feels like a Wikipedia lookup to me. Like I feel like
Okay. All right. I got a better question. I got a better question for the bees.
No, I'm bored of this.
No. It's specifically for the bees. Do you think that guys can be bisexual?
I only date bisexual men.
Okay, for me, bisexual is a women only thing because dudes who like dick are gay with extra steps.
No.
Can you explain to me?
What is this, a 2001 sitcom? Ugh. Boring. Move on. I'm bored of this. I'm bored of the questions.
Okay. Those are pretty
Rich
funny.
and I have been friends for a while. We should talk about it.
Yeah.
Rich and I have been friends for a while. I spent a lot of time at Rich's house, and it's usually I'm just leaning over and just saying absurd.
Annoying the hell out of me too.
That's not true. You love me.
Stuff.
No way.
Of course. No, I'm kidding. I joke.
Oh, that's good. Sometimes I get annoying though. I'm fine. We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
So I love having these conversations. I'll have these conversations with anybody, but I don't find any offense. We were talking about that while we were having our technical problems set up.
Man, we struggled. All because of one little HDMI wall plug, man. That was
someone didn't connect
too much. All right, yeah, it's been a great conversation. I think Sun Raven Arts studio over here. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We really do appreciate it. Next time we'll have some visuals on the screen, of course.
So this is our studio. So I hope we can have you back.
Oh yeah.
And bring some new guests.
I'll definitely have a couple recordings in here. I like the setup. Like it's a really nice setup for those watching on the YouTube. I think you'll agree.
Shit.
But yeah.
Nice.
This has been a great conversation with Rhonda, and all right. So till next time, salute to the outro. Peace.